second supplementary estimates for the fiscal year 2022-23. Madam FS, I'm sure you're used to being here and know what the functions are. So we'll allow you to make your opening remarks and then we can go through the meat of the matter.
Morning. Okay, thanks. All right, so as already indicated, Mrs. Loris Jarrett is with me this morning, Deputy Financial Secretary, Public Expenditure Division, and I will just go into the report. So the first supplementary estimates 2022-23 provides for gross central government expenditure of $971.984 billion, and this was comprised of $658.6 billion in non-debt expenditure and $313.4 billion in public debt service. The second supplementary estimate provides for the reallocation of $30.4 billion from the contingencies provision of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service Head to ministries, departments, and agencies to facilitate implementation of the new compensation system. The amount being transferred represents the estimated cost of implementing the new salary structure for some of the employee groups that are paid from the consolidated fund, whose unions and staff associations have signed the memoranda of understanding in respect of the new compensation system and for whom costings have been submitted to the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. In addition to the $30.4 billion reallocation to cover the new salary structure for employees paid from the consolidated fund, there's a one-time provision of approximately $1.7 billion for the University Hospital of the West Indies and the local authorities to meet compensation obligations under the new structure. The provision of this one-time amount increases the central government expenditure budget to $973.7 billion, as there was no provision in the compensation contingencies for employees who are not paid from the consolidated fund, and these persons would not be paid salaries from the fund. The UHWI, for instance, gets a subvention. Approval of the the additional amount of $1.7 billion will be financed from an estimated increase in revenue by $1.8 billion, as revenue flows have continued to perform well. Approval of the second supplementary will enable payment under the new compensation system to commence with the December pay cycle, including retroactive sums for April 1, 2022 to November 30, 2022. And just to make it clear, the new compensation system, the effective date is April 1, 2022. And we are therefore going to be paying amounts that were due from April on up to this point. Yes. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Members?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted further clarity on the UHWI one-time grant. Just a further explanation as to what this entails. And also the percentage of what is retroactive as opposed to what will be monthly going forward. Because I think the retroactive would be, 8 months? And then included December. So I just wanted to know what percentage of what is being paid now is retroactive.
Okay. With respect to the University Hospital of the West Indies, so they are funded through the Ministry of Health, but it's a subvention. They're not, we don't pay their salaries per se from the consolidated fund. So they get a subvention. And so we're indicating this is a one-time amount that we're providing. It's not to be interpreted as the government of Jamaica providing funds on an ongoing basis for UHWI salaries.
Which means that their increases will be subsumed under the subvention that they will get in the next financial year. Okay.
Yes. With respect to the retroactive amounts, at the moment we are estimating approximately 63% of the additional that is here.
Is that with respect to university or across? Is that across the public service, that's 60%?
The central government, the persons paid from the consolidated fund.
Okay.
That member, I think so.
Madam FS, go ahead. Go ahead, ma'am.
Just for clarity, further to the question by Member Hamilton, the 60% for salaries, excluding the one-off for University Hospital and which is the other place, and the local authorities. You said for the salary portion, it is 60% of it is for arrears?
Approximately. 63% is for the period April through November.
So the new rate would start in December?
We will commence the actual new rate payments in December.
Okay. So when they get the payment in December, the minister says that you're a miracle worker, so you're able to do the payments in December.
We're not hearing you, sir.
Oh, I was saying yesterday the minister had indicated, they gave a commitment that the effort will be to effect the payments we're talking about now in the December salary. Mm-hmm. That said, the December payment for the public sector workers would include arrears up to November, and the December would reflect the new rates.
That's correct.
Okay. I see in the information provided that Ministry of National Security is 739.5 million. And the police department is 613. The Ministry of National Security has the JDF falling under it too.
Okay. What you're seeing there is in relation to the persons who have signed and have submitted their information. So the minister would also have indicated yesterday that we expect to do a third supplementary because not everybody has signed. Okay, so the police are among the persons who have not signed. So where you see police, that is the what do you call them? The civilian persons, the persons who fall on the administrative
Oh, the
side.
civilian component of the police
Of the
department.
police.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
Under the unions that have signed.
Okay, so have you settled with the judiciary too?
Okay, for the judiciary, what you're seeing is the retroactive amounts from their settlement that would have come to Parliament not too long ago. That's not in relation to this activity.
Okay, so that is some long time.
Not that long.
What's this financial year, right?
No, back.
It's 2020. Yeah, from 2020.
No, that is back. Yeah. I call normal back amount from April 1st this year coming forward, so it's a bit older. Okay. They have been very quiet about it, I realize. So that's good. Okay, that's the last report that I think the finance, how many
of the bargaining groups have now signed? Is it?
Okay, so the minister would have indicated 17. We have 2 more signings, so we're at 19 now.
You're at 19 now. And none of those include the police or the JTA?
No. No.
And just to add to that, Chair, those additional 2 bargaining units are included in this figure here?
I'll have to come back to you on that one.
So, well, I guess at some point, then what will come with a 3rd supplementary for the additional...
For the remaining groups.
That would sign?
For the remaining groups, sir.
The remaining groups that are outstanding. We'd come back for another supplementary.
Yes.
To include those.
2 questions. The second one is not mischievous though, but the first one, how many after 19 is remaining? Further to the chairman's question. How many you have out beyond the 19?
Outstanding
beyond the 19.
groups.
Okay, there are another 20 groups.
Another 20?
20 groups, yeah.
So you'll be less than half of the groups. But
Less
what
than
percentage?
half of the groups, but the bulk would have signed.
But what,
yeah.
what percentage in public sector, in civil servants, that this 19 group would represent, roughly?
All right, sir, if you say civil servants, so for the most part, the civil servants have all
Civil servants?
have all been accommodated.
Are all been communicated?
Civil servants. So who we have out are the 2 big groups that are out are the police and the teachers.
Yeah. But if you do a numerical count, 19 plus 20, 39, in terms of the workforce, what that 19 groups represent? Approximately.
Let me come back to you. I mean, while there is a substantial number, because some of the groups that are left are small, we do have 2 big groups that are out, so I don't want to give you an estimate. I would want to get it accurate.
Okay, I won't push for it. The second question, which I forewarned, is not mischievous. Having settled with the 19, you expect that the next supplementary will be in January?
Hopefully.
Okay.
The Ministry of Health, Madam FS, has gotten really the lion's share. This, on page 42,003, delivery of health services, 12 billion. And it says compensation of employees. This would include the doctors?
No, the doctors have not signed.
So this 12 billion is what group within the sector itself?
Other persons, a number of the nursing groups, the administrative staff, other health, pharmaceuticals, not the doctors.
Okay. All right. Members?
The Minister FS, particularly in his presentation yesterday, emphasized that the restructuring will make for a movement from the regular way of settling increases in the public sector. After December, I remember reading somewhere that there is a 3-year implementation, which means that any adjustment over the 3 years, next 3 years, would be accounted for from now.
Yes.
So there will be no new discussion for increases within the implementation period. That will take us up to 25, 26 fiscal year thereabout, or 26, 27?
24, 25.
24, 25. In the restructuring arrangement that will be in place going forward, how does it provide for adjustments thereafter, after that 3-year period?
Right, so the 3-year period or the current arrangement will not provide for the adjustment after, but after we expect to have normal negotiations with the unions and staff associations. It's just that we would now be operating on one core band. It's not one band, but there's a core band, and there are others that are aligned to it.
Will the 2-year cycle will remain?
We would prefer that the cycle be longer than 2 years.
Okay. Well, if there are provisions within, if there are provisions for what will happen during the period, then you don't have to negotiate it in the period. You could negotiate it.
Right. So we're in discussion on those things. We remain in discussion on
some
those.
triggers or something like that. Okay.
Chair, just one question in relation to outstanding statutories for some of our public sector workers. Are these being incorporated now to clear that backlog, or how are we treating with it? Because
are you referencing any particular group?
I would reference a particular group, yes, but I'm not sure if there are others outstanding.
Okay, so from the central position, we do not have any outstanding amounts. We have provided the full budget for compensation, the gross budget, which is to cover both the statutories and the payments to the individuals. So where we have indications that something has not taken place, it's at the level of the ministry department or agency, and we are ready to work with anybody who needs further assistance to get the payments done. But the central has disbursed in line with budget and requests.
So persons who have an issue, do they come to you for that resolution?
No.
How do they treat with it?
No. So their first point is their ministry department or agency. If there's an issue that needs to be brought to us, then we are available to resolve.
Madam FS, and I mean, just a follow-up on the question that was asked. Once those in the compensation package and it has been paid over to the MDA or the department and agency, and if they are in breach of not paying over those statutories, then what is the next step? What's the follow-up on that? Because if the Ministry of Finance has forwarded all those funds that should take care of all of those matters, and that is not paid over to the various agencies, I mean, we have had instances of, let's use the JUTC, where the Ministry of Finance had to cover some $4 billion worth of statutories for that department itself, that agency. So what is the result of that breach from the Ministry of Finance on that department or agency?
Okay, sir. So for the MDAs that fall within the consolidated fund, which is who we would be funding in this respect, we do seek to address the situation we have in the past, move to make the payments directly rather than pass them. We have, of course, as you're aware, we are now operating the MyHR Plus, which for the most part centralizes the payments. There are still a few ministries that are not on, and we are working to get the full complement onto that system, which should see that occurrence disappearing once everyone is fully on. For JUTC is in fact a public body, styled as a self-financing public body, so we don't actually pay their wages and salaries.
Yeah, but it gets a huge amount of subvention from the government.
Yes,
so without that subvention, we can't say it is self-financing at all. But you know, yeah, yes.
As you touch on that, FS, you and I had the exchange about this, the JUTC, a couple of sittings back. Your budget call would have been started in October, right? Thereabout. This is December. You are now, or should be, near finalizing your numbers. Have they satisfied you for the monies that you will be providing for them going forward, for this financial year and going forward?
All right, sir. So just a note. So the budget recalls requires that the request be submitted by November 30. So no, we are not near finalizing at December 6 or 7. And for JUTC, the requests or what is being indicated with respect to subvention would come through their parent ministry to us. So I can't speak to what is there right now. Yeah. We're in the process of reviewing what has come in from the various MDAs.
I don't want to belabor it, but I know that the Ministry of Finance, and by extension, you as Financial Secretary, has the premier oversight responsibility for the optimal use of the source of the funds that is provided from the consolidated fund. So I know, reason I'm pleading to you, because you as the chief technical person needs to be satisfied that what you sign off on, that, of course, will seek the assent of the minister, is going in the right direction. Because I said before, and I say it again, what is parading as a public transport system is everybody know. It's far from it. And they have to be led to give value to the much that you provide going forward. So you're paying into something that is going to get better or ought to get better. It's the only control you have.
All right, so we will be reviewing what has been submitted, both for the central body and for the public bodies, as that will also come in terms of the public bodies budget. And we, as usual, will be providing our recommendations to the cabinet.
Just on our last page 42,001, Ministry of Health and Wellness Technical Support Services. There's a $57 million grant contribution subsidies to technical support. Can you?
Sorry, can you repeat the page?
42,001. Activity 10633. 149 million. 92 out of that is for compensation of employees, and there's a 57 million for grants, contribution, and subsidies.
Okay, we'll have to come back to you on that, sir. We are checking.
Okay.
With, others.
All right. All right, members. Is there anything addition that you would like to ask of the FS? None? Yeah.
My colleague, she didn't say it explicitly, but I presume that's what she was hinting to. The judiciary does not include both the judges and the legal officers?
No, that's just the judges.
Just the judges? Okay. They negotiate for themselves?
Sorry?
They negotiate for themselves?
I'm not hearing.
I was asking if the judiciary negotiate for themselves.
Yes. Remember there is a process through which the judiciary salaries is done. A review is done by a committee, and that goes to the cabinet.
Okay. Out of curiosity, who negotiate for the parliamentary group?
I don't know, sir. Who is negotiating on your behalf?
Huh? Say that, would you repeat?
Excellent question.
No, I didn't get the answer, FS.
To the best of my knowledge, there is currently a formula through which the parliamentary...
Oh, so their negotiation is through a formula.
To the best of my knowledge, that's what currently exists.
Okay. I was not aware, so I was just seeking information.
But to follow on what Member Jackson just said, I was of the opinion that we would have been provided with some kind of information in relation to this compensation review. I thought we were going to, just like every other stakeholder, be given information as to how it operates, but to date we have not been engaged. Or is it that it is just not our time yet?
All right, so based on how it's currently structured, you are linked to a group.
But, Madam FS, with all due respect, we're not even sure which group we're linked to. And like every other group within the sector, at least know what it is that their base is. I mean, as parliamentarians, we don't even know if we're getting fing or fang, you know. So to say that we're linked to a group and nothing has been communicated to the parliamentary group itself. If the Minister of Finance know that and has not shared it, but I think really as a group, at least I would like to know which group I am pegged to or not, to be able to have an understanding of since we don't even have a group negotiating for us. But we are paid by central government, just like the others.
Okay, Chair. So the formula is linked to the Permanent Secretaries Group. And just a note, the Permanent Secretaries Group has not yet settled.
Interesting to know. But in all seriousness, though FS, the comments made so far about who negotiates for what group they are linked to, it doesn't only relate to the members of parliament who will be the beneficiary of what is finally agreed, but because the whole issue of compensation for parliamentarians have been a very sensitive public issue, I think it is prudent that there is no surprise, not only to the members of parliament, but to the public at large, that one day they are told that this is it. I believe that in our own democratic arrangement, it would be reasonable for the public to have an appreciation for it, and to the extent that even the opinion or perspective of the public or segments of the public will influence that be done. Because whatever is decided on, the government of the day happens to be the current government that we're talking about, the adjustment now, will have to come to the public and give some justification for what they're doing. They don't have to give the justification just to the members of parliament, because members of parliament will be paid from the public purse. So I believe it is prudent that be not kept a secret. And yes, it is not finalized, but at least the approach that will be taken to deal with it be known. You mentioned the Permanent Secretaries Group. You know FS, and I know, and everybody know. It is not new that there is an approach. There has been an approach to link with the Permanent Secretary groups. It was tried one time and abandoned. And for the past couple decades, perhaps, there has been no linkage with that group, even though it was promulgated sometime in the past. So even when I'm told, I'm now hearing that it is linked to that group, the truth be told, that don't mean much to me. Don't mean much, knowing what the history has been with the linkage with that group. And there have been many proposals that have been come forward. Remember, clearly the Clark Commission, the Clark Committee or Clark Commission that did an extensive review and made recommendations which were never acted upon. And I think there were some subsequent new approaches. So the whole thing, just in a limbo. But as I said, from a public interest standpoint, I think it is prudent that be set out. The approach, right, and the justification for the approach so that there can be an assessment of it. It's not just as it relates to the MPs themselves.
Noted.
Soliciting a response on this occasion. That's my thoughts.
But is there any other group that is in the same situation as the parliamentarians?
I mean, in terms of
that their salaries is worked out by a formula. There's no linked to any other group, but there's no body that it really negotiates for them.
Not that I'm aware, sir.
Okay, well, so we are the rare breed in the lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, members, are there any other?
On your prior question, it is.
That's 42,000.
It's actually salaries for various health professional councils.
Go again.
Including the
grants
nursing
and
council, pharmacy, and the medical council.
that's a grants contribution.
Yes.
That is. Go again.
Salaries for various health professional councils.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's a one-off, or is it going?
No.
It is generally in the
It's
recurrent.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, FS. Mrs. Jarrett, thank you. I don't think we need to detain you any further, as we have to prepare this report and have it tabled in the House a little later today, so that the minister can have this passed and other groups that have signed outside of the parliamentarians can see a good Christmas. Yeah? All right, members, any other business? There are no other business. We don't have a date for the next meeting as yet, and we will round robin as soon as, that's unless the minister is going to bring the third supplementary before the end of the calendar year, then you will be called back. Right, member?
Okay, right. Chair.
All right, so meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Government is working for you. On the East Coast, there's the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. The highway, which began in January